Hello, welcome to Double Coverage. I'm ESPN.com Bengals reporter Coley Harvey, and I'm joined by San Diego Chargers reporter Eric Williams. And Eric, we talked after that game December 1st about the run game for both these teams. The Bengals obviously racked up 164 yards on the ground. The Chargers had a little trouble stopping them. What does San Diego need to do this week to limit Cincinnati's production on the ground?
I think it's pretty simple. They have to tackle, particularly in the open field and at the line of scrimmage. They have to do a better job up front defensively and kind of maintain their gap integrity. They struggled last week against Kansas City, against a team that played 20 reserves. Niles Davis looked like Earl Campbell last week. So they definitely have to do a better job of controlling the line of scrimmage and then get off the field on third down. Coley, in terms of Phillip Rivers, how are the Bengals going to handle him this time around? And Rivers is playing at a pretty high level right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something we talked earlier this week with defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer about, and he said, you really can't do a whole lot different against Phillip Rivers. You just kind of have to keep trying to attack him. They put a lot of pressure on him last game, and that's something that they've really been doing all season. But really, since that San Diego game, I'd argue the last three out of the last 4 weeks of the season, they were really getting after quarterbacks. It was a little bit different against the Steelers. The Steelers were dumping off a lot of short screen passes in that ball game, so it was tough to blitz quite as often. But against Joe Flacco, they were pressuring him all day. Flacco actually ended up re-injuring a knee, ended up hurting an elbow, got hit pretty hard in the end zone at one point for near safety, and actually got sacked 2 times. So when it comes to playing Phillip Rivers, the Bengals are just going to have to continue to get after him. And obviously still lock down those receivers. Obviously you've been covering the Chargers all year. Keenan Allen is no easy task for any cornerback, particularly when the Bengals have one coming back in Terrence Newman, who's coming off a knee injury of his own. Eric, I got to ask you really quickly, the San Diego Chargers win this first-round AFC playoff game if? What happens? What happens to lead to the win?
Well, I'm going to keep it simple again. They got to score. Bengals held them to a season-low 10 points out here in San Diego last time these two teams met. And really, if this team gets out front and is able to control tempo and scores touchdowns, then it takes pressure off the defense, which I think is the weaker link of this team. So Phillip Rivers, that offense, they got to put points on the board, can't settle for field goals, they have to score touchdowns. In terms of the Bengals, Coley, what do the Bengals need to do to beat this team for a second straight time?
Well, you're talking about the defense, the offense being the strength of the Chargers. The defense is the strength of the Bengals. So I'd flip it around in that sense. But what I'd say is turnovers. It begins and ends with turnovers. The Cincinnati Bengals have got to keep turnovers from happening offensively. In the season finale against the Ravens, they end up having 4 interceptions. Andy Dalton at fault probably for 2 out of those 4, particularly one on first and goal on the Ravens' 1-yard line. Why are you passing the ball right there? Run the football in that situation. So they've got to limit the turnovers in that respect, and also on defense, they've got to figure out a way to continue to get turnovers. They've been doing it all season. In fact, 6 defensive touchdowns for the Bengals this year. That's tied with 2 other teams for the league record. All 6 of those touchdowns have come at Paul Brown Stadium. So they've been doing a good job defensively with turnovers at home, and I think that's what it's going to come down to.
For more on your favorite NFL team, be sure to check out the NFL Nation blog on ESPN.com/NFL.